Hey everybody, just want to say welcome to this video. This is going to be part number 1 in the series of me actually creating a sound isolating drum riser for my drummer friend. And what we're going to do in these videos is I'm just going to keep a log of showing you guys what I'm doing. This is basically my very cluttered kitchen. I live in a very small 3.5 apartment, and I have a workbench in my kitchen here that I do all my work on for various projects, whether it's music projects or whatever the heck it is I'm doing, or construction projects. And today what I'm doing is I'm actually just cutting up some 2x3s here for this drum riser. Now this video is going to be different than a lot of the other videos on the internet where guys are building isolating drum risers for their electronic drum kits, because I have a completely different idea about doing this based on some science to do with sound. Just a little background about myself. I've been a sound technician now for almost 40 years. I know quite a bit about sound and recording and production and all that stuff, and I've worked in the music industry for a very, very long time, including having worked for an actual major record company for a series of time, maybe about 15 years ago. So I do know something about professional sound production and all the things that have to do with the record industry and that stuff. But what we're going to be doing here today is I'm just going to be trying to create a isolating drum riser for my drummer for his house, because unfortunately his electronic drum is too loud and it's bothering his neighbors. So I'm going to approach this from a slightly different way, and I'm going to just show you guys as I go along. There's going to be a number of different videos here. What I'm doing, like I said, today I'm just cutting wood. Basically this drum riser is going to be 5 feet square. It's going to be constructed of 2x3s and some other MDF board and some foam and some other rubber gasket type material, some rubber mat type material. As I go along, I'll show you different things that I'm particularly doing, and I'll show you as I'm going through this a theory of what I'm going to do, because it is going to be different. And of course, there's probably going to be some of you guys out there that might be engineers or whatever, and you may agree or disagree with the choices I'm making to construct this riser. But as I go through this, I'll explain why I'm doing this, and I'll explain why I'm not doing the traditional tennis ball isolating riser that I've seen quite a few guys do. Again, there's nothing wrong with those designs, really. But my knowledge of sound production and how sound carries, and some of my scientific knowledge also dictated to me to try to do something very different from what these guys did with their drum risers. And I'm going to show you as we go here what my idea is going to be, and I'll introduce to you in little sections here what I'm doing to the riser as I'm building it. But this was just an intro video I wanted to do, just to let you guys know what's going on, because I've got everything on my desk here. When we do build this riser, we're going to be doing some slightly different things. Instead of using a group of, let's say, 30 tennis balls between 2 pieces of plywood or 2 pieces of MDF to absorb the sound, I'm actually going to be building something with some foam pads that we can buy at the local, hardware store. Here's actually a little test example of what I'm going to be using, and basically I've just cut up a bunch of those foam pads and made a little base here. Now, when I actually make the feet for this riser, it's not going to be this size. It's actually going to be on a larger piece of wood, cut like this, which is 9 by 9, and I am going to place on here a bunch of those foam pads, approximately 7 of them thick, same size as this. It'll be the same height as this, in a square on this pad, and they will be tacked down with a number of screws to hold them exactly in place. And what I'll be doing once this pad is down on this larger foot here is I'm going to be using a bolt like this that has a rounded end on all 4 corners of the riser, and there may actually be one in the middle of the riser in the center, but we're not sure yet whether or not that's going to be required or not. And this particular bolt is going to go into a set piece of wood where it's going to act like a foot like this, and that foot is going to rest on this pile of foam on the large foot, dead center in the middle. Now we may incorporate actually a halved up tennis ball on all these feet too, just to give it a little bit of a soft rubber rounding here for all the feet to sit on. And the reason I've chosen to do this is because the scientific laws of how sound and vibration get generated through things actually dictates, and there are some people out here who can tell me that I'm wrong in this, but I do know a little bit again about sound and stuff and vibration. I've chosen to make the 4 feet in the corner of this riser supported by this block of foam, because this is the least amount of contact points that will be touching the floor. So very small contact point. The end of this is only about just under an inch across, and it's round. That's going to be sitting on a stack of foam on all 4 corners of the riser, and that's going to be the only part of the riser actually contacting the floor. So when the riser is actually on the floor, on these 4 feet mounted, it will also have a number of layers of foam under the riser to absorb the downward strike that we hear from the vibrations actually on the riser. And like I said, as we go, I'll show you what I'm doing with all these things, and we'll mount them all up along the way, once I get all of this frame bolted together, and I show you exactly what I've done to build that. And this is largely an experiment. I think theoretically my idea is going to work better than the tennis ball drum riser isolation idea that a lot of people have used. But we're going to see in the end what actually happens here, and I'll try to scientifically show you what's going on. And once we actually build the riser and we set it all up, we're actually going to do some tests on it and see how it performs. And I think it's going to perform better than some of those guys that have built the tennis ball risers. I think it's going to isolate much better than that, because it's going to just have like 4 or maybe maximum 5 contact points with the floor, which is going to eliminate that, because something that a lot of people have not really brought up when it comes to the idea of using tennis balls is that a tennis ball will still create and also actually carry a lot of sound. And a good example of this is just take a tennis ball and throw it against a concrete wall. That pop sound that you hear it make, that means that that tennis ball is vibrating. It means that it's actually going to vibrate quite a bit. It's actually going to transmit a lot of the vibration from the weight that's sitting on it across to whatever it's sitting on. And it's eliminating that multiplied vibration from having 20, 30, or 40 of those balls all sitting between 2 pieces of wood. To me, that's not a logical idea of how to not transmit vibration. Good rule of this is often when we see very large generator motors. Sometimes generator motors are mounted, and they're mounted on just 4 little rubber gasket like mounts, and that's to isolate the vibration. And the same thing is true of car engines. If you don't want an engine to transmit vibration, you mount it on very few mounts, and those mounts have to be kind of absorbent. They have to absorb the vibration of whatever it is that's vibrating. And it's exactly the same idea for this riser creating. I'm trying to use as minimal amount of contact points with the floor as I can, and then supplement this by adding a lot of foam insulation underneath the riser in between the floor, along with some carpeting as well too, to absorb whatever other vibration comes out of the bottom of the riser and may go into the floor, and also to get the drum riser far enough off the floor in the end that that it doesn't transmit that sound exactly down into the floor, and it certainly doesn't transmit the sound by the feet that are sitting on the padding here too, because the contact point is very small. I'm hoping that the transmission of vibration will be very, very limited, because there are only 4, maybe 5 points contacting this. So this is just the first part of the video that I'm creating. It's not meant to be a fancy video. I'm sorry that my decor in my kitchen and my workshop here is not really anything to be bragged about, but we're going to try this experiment and we're going to see what happens, and hopefully the result is really good. So please stay tuned. This is episode 1 of what I'm doing here, and as we go along I'll keep filming episodes and posting them, and you guys will see what the results are in the end. Hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys stay tuned to watch this and see what happens with me.